Hey there, welcome to our Tennis Elbow 4 Beginner's Guide. Tennis Elbow can feel pretty overwhelming in your first few hours, so I decided to make a mini-series for new players to help you get the hang of it. So I recommend that you take your time to go through all my beginner guides for Tennis Elbow 4, which I will be releasing in the upcoming days. I will share tips and tricks that are hard to figure out unless you talk to veterans or dive into the game's documentation. In this video, we will cover your first launch of the game. We will talk about how to install mods, which ones to use, and a bit about profiles. Next, we will dive into the settings menu, focusing on camera, video, and control options. After that, we will discuss how to select your player in this game and the difficulty levels of Tennis Elbow 4. And finally, I will share some useful resources and documents about the game. And hey, if you are new to Tennis Elbow 4 and have some specific areas of the game that are causing you trouble or are unclear, let me know in the comment section. I read all the comments in my videos. Let's get into it. So you just installed the game and launched it for the first time. You are probably very eager to jump right into the match to see how the gameplay is. I get it, but cool your jets. There are a few things we need to set up first, so you can really enjoy your time with this game. Thankfully, you don't need to install anything outside of the game. There are mods in Tennis Elbow 4, and they are great, but modding is done through the in-game menu. It's quite convenient and actually user-friendly. So how about we start there? The first thing we want to do after launching the game is go to the mod management menu. Here, you can see all available mods for Tennis Elbow 4. I found that mod descriptions can sometimes be quite unclear, making it hard for new players to figure out which mods to actually install. Luckily, it's actually pretty simple. There's only one must-have mod, and that's the XKT mod. There are actually a few XKT mod options, but for now, all you need is the basic XKT mod that you can see right now on the screen. The two other XKT WTSL mods are for online tournaments, which you don't need to worry about right now. We will cover online tournaments in future videos. I also recommend installing the scoreboard mode and darker shadows. The rest is completely optional. To install a mod, just click subscribe and the game will install it. You just have to wait a moment for installation to complete. In the top right corner of the window, you will see a gear icon with a circle. Click on it to check if any mods are currently installing or queuing. And to uninstall any mod, you simply press unsubscribe. Alright, now that we have installed the mods, let's set the right profile to ensure that the XKT mod is active. Go to Options, then the Profiles tab, and select the XKT profile. Apply the change and restart the game. You will know the correct profile is active if you see a specific loading photo when the game starts with XKT text in the middle. For now, that's all you need to do with profiles. They will be useful later on for online tournaments, but there is no need to worry about that now. Okay, so we've got the mods sorted out. Now let's go to settings. First we will deal with the video settings. You want to enable advanced settings at the bottom. Here are a few options I strongly recommend. First, turn off VSync and also disable the visibility of the crowd, both far and near. This is very important because having the crowd enabled can significantly drop your FPS even on capable gaming PCs. For example, I experienced drops from 144 FPS to around 40-50 FPS when the crowd starts cheering. These are important settings for optimal gaming performance. The rest is up to your preference. There's actually an interesting option for 2D courts. They are basically like a 2D photos of the stadium. Using 2D courts is good for weak computers and actually has its own charm. However, 2D courts have limitations, like limiting camera modification possibilities. You can actually only change the zoom but not the height of your camera, so I recommend using 3D courts if your PC can handle it. Now let's go to camera options. Camera settings are usually very subjective, but it can be very confusing when you just start with the game. So here are my two favorite setups. One setup is with low height, which helps you understand how long or short the ball will be without in-game helpers. This camera angle is also quite immersive, while still being a viable option for competitive gameplay. The downside is that it's a bit harder to quickly see the direction of the shot. The second camera angle is more common among online players. It's placed a little bit higher, more from above. It allows you to see the ball's direction more clearly, but makes it harder to understand the length of the shot. By the way, you can save and load up to 6 camera presets with these buttons, so take advantage of this feature. Next, let's move to controls in the game. First, you need to click the arrow next to shortcuts to get to player 1 controls. By default, the controls menu may show you some weird default button icons, especially if you are using a controller. At the bottom of the screen, you can switch button layouts to Xbox or PlayStation controllers. Personally, I prefer the PlayStation layout. You will see that we have 9 shot types in Tennis Elbow 4. That's a lot of shots to assign. And we have a limited number of buttons on the controller, so how do we set it up? As you can see from my control scheme, I like combining the normal strike with the short normal strike on one button. The rest of the shots I like to assign each type to one button. In this window, we also have serving controls. The only one I recommend adjusting here is the strong serve. By default, the game requires you to put a combination of 2 buttons. Personally, I like using R2 or right trigger if you are an Xbox user for this type of fast serve. Such a button configuration matches nicely with my control scheme for accelerations, which are strong shots during a rally. There are also 3 special shot types which are not listed in this window. I will explain how shot types, serving controls and mechanics work in the next video where we will dive into gameplay basics. Alright. Now that we have set all the basics, the next step is to do the tutorials. You might want to skip them and learn the game by playing, but trust me, you need to play at least a few tutorials in Tennis Elbow 4. This game plays very differently than other tennis sim games do, so it's really helpful to spend some time learning. Tutorials will teach you how aiming, serving and movement work. Take your time with them until you get the hang of the game. So, now you may want to start an actual exhibition match. But before you do so, let me show you how to actually change your player. To do that, we go to Training Club window. Here we select Character Sheets. Your player is player 1, which is the first tab. You have basically 2 options to change your player. First is to click Load Player button. With the XKT mod installed, you have like 50 plus beginner-friendly players pre-made by the mod's authors. Personally, I like using the import function. This allows you to import any player present in the World Tour database. We are talking about hundreds of players, both current and past legends. You can choose your favorite player to try, and then set which year version of them you want. For instance, Federer from 1999 has worse stats than Federer in his prime. And you can do the same for your opponent by selecting the second tab and choosing a player using one of the methods I just mentioned. Here is also a good spot to talk about difficulty in Tennis Elbow 4. Changing difficulty in this game is done through the character sheet of your opponent. Difficulty settings are located at the bottom left of the screen. There are 6 main difficulty levels, each with 10 sub-levels. The first 3 difficulty levels, beginner, club and junior, have a handicap on the CPU's player stats. So basically your opponent performs worse than you would expect based on their statistics. On pro and master levels, the CPU statistics work just like on the stats sheets. And then we have incredible difficulty. Here the stats are slightly higher than in character panel. This way of setting the difficulty makes the game a very smooth experience without too many difficulty spikes. I recommend starting at the lowest level and working your way up. Early on, when you beat your opponents in matches, the game will even ask if you want to increase the difficulty. For reference, if you want to be competitive online in Tennis Elbow 4, you should be able to beat the computer at the master level on a high sub level like 9 or 10. I first tried to play online when I was at Pro 8 and 10 difficulty and got my butt kicked. I also heard that the best players in the game can compete with the CPU at max difficulty, which is incredible 10. and that's insanely hard. And with all of that, you can finally start practicing the game in exhibition matches to see how it actually feels. Lastly, before we finish this video, let's talk about useful links for Tennis Elbow 4. We have 2 tutorials written by the game's developer. These documents are great sources of details. I will link both in the video's description. The first document was designed for Tennis Elbow 2013, which is the previous game in the series. Both games share many mechanics, so a lot of information is still valid for Tennis Elbow 4. This page provides you a lot of insight into gameplay mechanics. However, not everything is the same in both games, especially in terms of abilities and statistics, which are expanded in Tennis Elbow 4. For written information about stats and playstyles, you can check the second document. This text was originally written for Tennis Elbow Manager 2, a tennis manager game based on the Tennis Elbow 4 engine. It's very detailed for understanding the character's sheet, and it helps you also to choose the right playstyle and traits for your preferred build. But don't worry, we will talk about stats in detail in future videos, so stay tuned for that. Next, I recommend joining Discord channels created for the game. There are 3 community servers that I am aware of. First is the official forum tournament server. Those are tournaments organized via the official forum. These tournaments are the most new player friendly, since they allow in-game helpers. Then we have also World Tennis Simulation League, a well-organized online tour created by fans and modders. This tour has the highest skill level since you don't have any in-game helpers available at your disposal. And lastly, we have XKT mod server, which is a great source of information about the mod and the game. Generally, you can ask for help or guidance on any of these servers. People are nice and helpful, and even if you don't plan to join multiplayer matches, I recommend joining the servers to see what's happening with the game and find useful information. So that's what I got for you in this video. I hope it helps wrap your head around the menu and initial setup of Tennis Elbow 4. I will work now on the second video in this series where we will talk about gameplay basics. That's gonna be an important one and quite detailed. In case I missed something important about setting up your game, let us all know in the comment section below the video. And if you enjoyed this guide and want to see more of my videos in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.